here we are in Italy, and it's been one hell of a drive to get here. It's sort of 13 hours from Calais, and I'm another 4 hours the other side, and we've done the long drive through the Alps. And I'm here with John Flewin, Frank Warwick, Guy's here as well, and there's a few other Frank friends all dotted around the lake. And it's been an awesome trip, very tiring trip, but we finally got here. We're finally here on the banks of Ghost Park, and it looks absolutely stunning. Now, John's not fished it before, but I fished it last November, and it was completely different then. Obviously, it was cold, it was raining, it was different weather altogether. Now it's glorious sunshine, a little bit too hot if I'm honest, 36, 37 degrees, so it's going to be a really, really hot week. But it looks good in its summer colours, and there's a lot of fish out there showing. So last year I didn't do particularly well. We come out last in the draw, and it didn't really pan out for me. But this year we came out 5th in the draw. But the best thing was we got the swim we wanted from the start. I thought these swims would be the first to go, but they weren't. I think other people fancy other areas, they've seen fish in the corners, but I know that this swim controls a lot of the central section of the lake. So I think John's going to drop in this one here, and I'm going to go sort of 10 yards up the bank there. And we've got a big section of open water where we must have seen about 20 shows. So we're really hopeful, and yeah, hopefully we're going to catch a lot of carp and show you a lot of big fish over the course of this next week. Well, as you can see, I'm into a carp. I've not even got set up properly yet. This rod's been out for half an hour. I don't think John's even got a rod out. And yeah, it's just gone off. It was a really strange bite actually. Dropped back to the bottom and then slowly came up to the top and just hovered there at the top. It didn't even pull it out of the clip or do anything. And I felt the line, and the line was a lot tighter than what it was previously. So I picked it up and it's done nothing all the way in. Then I've got it more or less under the rod tip, and it's just gone absolutely nuts. It's actually hitting into the bottom of about 25, 30 foot of water just down here. You can see all the bubbles coming up as it hits into the deck. So hopefully I might have my first Ghost Lake carp. Come on. Oh. Oh. Yeah, that'll do. Happy with that. Whew. Well, I'm happy with this one. £39.10. Long, lean, common, and didn't half give me a good scrap. My first Italian fish, so really pleased. Oh, it's just too hot though. It's just too hot. Cracking carp. So pleased with this one. When I first saw it come up to the surface and saw how long it was, I thought it was a fair bit bigger than this, but I'm not complaining. I best let it go, because this water is absolutely like bath water. I thought it'd be cool getting in here with the waders, but it's not. So let's just let it go and hope for a few more.
Well, Ghost Park, Italy. We arrived yesterday after a ridiculously long, hot drive, and I had to collect the money off everyone. I run the trips, and waited for the Manuel, the guy who runs it, and he never turned up, which is a bit of Italian style, so I didn't even get fishing till God knows what. I cast out and lost one immediately on just a cast into bubblers. Anyway, got fishing this morning first thing, and I've been in about 20 minutes, and this is £40 4 ounces, so it's a nice start, great start. This is what we come to Italy for, so smashing.
Well, look at this fella. This is what I've come to Italy for. I've done 4 or 5 trips abroad now, and I've always wanted an international 50 to go with my UK ones, and here it is. And it's not just a scraper 50 either, it's £55. I'm absolutely blown away with this. and it actually beats my UK PB as well at 53.12. So really, really pleased to get this. It's actually my third fish of the session. I had a 28 in the night, but I was really struggling last night. It was just too hot and I had a bit of heat stroke. So had a chilled out night, early night, and then got the rods sorted this morning. Got the rods sorted this morning and had this one. Unfortunately, John was down filming with Frank, filming his 40. Oh dear. But yeah, blown away with this one. Oh, look at the size of it. Happy days. One last look before I put him back. He's still quite lively. Just so blown away with this fish. It makes that 18-hour drive worthwhile. I'm so glad I came back. Oh. Let's let him go, shall we? As you can probably tell, I'm a little bit out of breath because we were just doing the returners of the 55 and the left-hand rod has just absolutely melted off. So I just had to leg it up here to pick this rod up. So we can't do returners in my swim because it literally just shelves straight off, but in John's swim up there it's nice and smooth. So that's by far the best place to get the fish back. But this is just absolutely melted. Whew. I'm just seeing a massive fish just stick its head out right across there. I think they call that a double take. I'm still playing this fish and that's ripping off. Well, this is absolute carnage. As you probably saw from the last clip, I got a take on the middle rod as I was playing a fish on the left-hand rod. So John had to play this one in 3/4 of the way while I landed that one, which just wouldn't give up. So I've got a decent sized common in the net down there. It's probably about 40. And then we've got this one. And this one literally came more or less straight in with minimal pressure. And now it's just holding low under the rod tip. We've just got a flash of colour then. Oh, it looks all right. Oh, it's this thin leathery one. I don't think it's as big as that one. He was determined to shoot off with the net. Come on. Come on. Oh, you little get. Come on. Oh. Oh. Italian carnage. Whew. That's 3 fish in about 45 minutes. It's madness. I'm starting to feel a bit guilty because John hasn't even got his rods out today yet, so let's get these 2 videoed, get them back. It's time for John to catch one. Well, this is the second of 2 bites. So the one that John paid 3/4 of the way in, and it's a little bit bigger than what I thought. I thought it was an upper 20, but it's actually 33. It's got some nice little dimply scales towards its tail. So yeah, cracking fish. But that one in the net, that common, is a fair bit bigger. So let's slip this one back and have a look at that common. Well, look at this for a cracking carp. This was the first part of that double take. Just held low in the water, fought really hard. It's just such a long, lean, absolutely solid fish. 42 pound. I tell you, these Italian commons are absolutely stunning. So pleased with how this session's going so far. The temperatures continued to rise, but the action didn't slow. John managed a small one and slipped it straight back, and I managed quite a few more blacker moors. However, it wasn't long before the carp came feeding back on the spot. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've not eaten all day, so I'm having a banana whilst playing the fish. But this is absolutely manic action. I don't think I've fished anywhere that's been as manic as this. I think I just must be on just a big shoal of fish out there. And as soon as I'm getting the baits out there and in place, they're just following the bait trail down through the water and having it. It's just absolutely manic. And it's red hot as well. It's 32, 33 degrees today. And they're still feeding and feeding voraciously. And this one's coming flying towards me. So the situation I'm fishing in at the minute, there seems to be a bar out there, and it's a little bit up and down. So most of the lake bed out there is sort of 31, 32 foot deep, so it's a really deep lake. And then it comes up to a bar. So my right hand rod is on about 27 foot, that's on the shallowest. This is my mirror rod now, and this is in 28 foot, and then my right hand rod's in 29 foot. So initially, when I got here on Monday, I had every intention of fishing it how I would fish in the UK, which is sort of leading around, finding a spot, marking it up, and then spotting to it. After having a lead around and setting everything up, I didn't feel too great because I had heat stroke, pretty much like most people on here. It's ridiculously hot, and there's no way to get out of this sun. At the minute, it's probably about midday, so we've got all this tree cover behind, but when it comes to 3 o'clock, it's just hitting us straight in here, and there's no real place to hide. So casting, spotting up, leading around, and putting out the amount of bait that I need to put out just wasn't working. So I've done something a little bit differently to what I normally do, and I've borrowed HMS Cheap Box, and I'm not really au fait with bait boats, if I'm honest. I really struggle to drop a rig out of a bait boat and not feel the lead down. I always like to feel the lake bed just to feel it donk, to make sure it's on the bar, or not in weed, or if it's in silt or whatever else. But you simply just can't hold the line when it's in this sort of depth, because the swing back would be immense. So your bait would end up sort of on the bar that I want to fish on, and your rig would end up swinging back into the deeper water and completely miss the shallow spots, and you'd be miles away from your bait as well. So you've literally just got to let it go out the boat and sink it on a tight line, which makes me worry about tangles and how the rig's going to lie, and a whole host of other things as well. But that's what I'm doing, and it really is working for me. I've just seen it now, and I'm taking it a hell of a lot more seriously. It's a big old common. All I can see is just keep seeing flashes of it, flashes of scales. It's certainly bigger than the other two I've caught, by quite a distance by the looks of it. So previously I was playing the fish a little bit casually because I didn't think it was very big, but now I'm a little bit concerned. Really want it in the net. Look at that. I wish I had a longer net pole now. Get in. That's a proper chunk. I think that's bigger than the mirror. Look at this for a carp. This is colossal. I thought the 55 was big, but this is even bigger. 60 pound, 10 ounces. Now this is what we come to Italy for. This is what we've taken the big long drive and come all the way down here, fishing in these extreme heats to catch something like this. Unbelievable. I can't tell you how blown away I am. I've done several trips abroad now, and this is the reason why. This is it. 60 pound 10, new PB. I'm a member of the 60 club.
Yeah, just had this one. I've not weighed it yet, but it's a beautiful looking fish, isn't it? I think it's probably an upper 40 or a 50. And it's about 36 degrees here now. It's crazy heat. So they're feeding like crazy though. They're not like in England. The hotter it is, the more they feed in Italy. So yeah, there we are. But I'll give you the weight in a bit when I've weighed it. We just thought we'd film it first. And then, but a great start. We're not even 24 hours in yet. We're getting some nice fish. My son's just had a 51. Ed's just had a £60 common, and what's not to like? It's absolutely amazing, beautiful.
Well, hello, you might not recognise me because it's been Ed. And it's been a mega session for him, mate, absolutely phenomenal. But we were just standing there, Ed was playing a fish which turns out to be a blackamoor, which no doubt you will see because I know he wants a photo of one. And I could hear an alarm ripping. I've looked at Rod's other rod, evidently not thinking potentially it's mine. And yeah, left-hand rod on the new spot. Yesterday nothing happened and Ed absolutely KO'd them this morning. Knew I had to find something a bit different, so I've gone a bit further. I've been plagued by pests, how we call them, a sturgeon and one of the American catfish that are in here. It's all part and parcel of fishing a venue that's got those mixed species in. But what I have seen is some epic carp in here as well. I'm not entirely sure this is a carp, to be fair, the way it's shredding line. But we will see, we will see. But it's nice to be playing a fish, just giving a bit back. Even the little sturgeon didn't really give me much. But yes, we will see if this is a carp. It would be lovely if it was, because the hard work of finding a spot this morning again at 4 o'clock whilst everyone else was still fast asleep, I was out trying to find another spot at range. So let's see what this becomes. I'll be honest, if this is a carp, it's a 20-pounder that's just full of beans. Well, there we are, my first proper Ghost Park carp. I've taken my sweet time, to be honest, and this is from a new spot that I found at 4 o'clock this morning whilst everyone else was fast asleep. So yeah, shows a little bit of hard work does pay off. As I say, I have taken my time catching this one, but it has been awesome spending the day with Ed. 2 new PBs for him, and this is my Italian PB, and that's what I'm calling it. 48 pounds of proper muscly Italian mirror. But yeah, right from the heat of the day this one, so we're not going to keep out much longer. A few picks, slip her back, and the rods are already out, so fingers crossed for another Ghost Lake banger. There we are, last glimpse of my first proper one from this awesome Warwick in Italy. Right, slip her back. Well, good morning. And to be honest with you, I think me and Ed probably owe an apology. We haven't really been keeping you up to date with the flow of the day, because yesterday, after that fish I had, got the rods back out, had something to eat, and it's dark before you know it. But I left these rods out overnight. A lot of the boys have been reeling in at night just because their action has been so incredible in the days. Whereas for me, it's been a lot slower. So I have left them out. And I was just around having a shower. Ed was on the rods keeping an eye for me. I get a phone call, you're in. And it's about a 500-yard dash around the corner, which for a lad of my stature is a long old way. But not sure yet if it's a carp. As I've said earlier, I've been plagued by these other species, shall we say. But if it is one of them, we will show you, because there are some cool ones. No, it's a carp. It's not a big one, but it's a carp. Which will do. Is it? Yeah. It's hard to tell when you're level to the water with them. But yes, today is set to be another absolute scorcher. And so I got up this morning, put some lapses on, and I realised just how warm it's going to be. None of that cloud cover from yesterday was here. But yeah, hopefully we can get this in the net. We'll have something to show you first thing in the morning. Get in the net. That'll do, boy. Bienvenuti tutti. Oh shit. Well, good morning. And this is what I thought was a 20-pounder. It's actually another 48 pound. And Ed will give me grief for this probably for the rest of the trip because I was like, oh, it's not that good. He went, that's a good one, mate. And it's very close to that magical 50. When I came here, that was the target, was a 50. But then when I saw Ed's day yesterday and all the other boys doing well, I was like, do you know what, I just want to catch some fish. So this one, leaving the rods out overnight, first morning bite, buzzing. As I said, I was around just coming in a shower. Ed's picked up the rod, so thank you very much for that. And this is what the beautiful thing with this is, it's been a great team in this searing heat. It's been about teamwork and making it happen because yesterday, believe you me, was graft. But yes, buzzing, another Italian mega mirror. Let's get the rod back out, load more bait, and try and dance around this sun for the rest of the day. Buzzing, happy days. Well, there we are. Last look at this awesome fish before I slip it back. Sweat's dripping off my nose already. Tells me it's going to be another warm one. But to end yesterday on a fish and start today on a fish certainly has buoyed me up in camp. Let's see what the rest of the day holds. Slip it back.
Well, I've never known fishing like this. This is absolutely ridiculous. I didn't fish last night just because, and that rod's going now. I haven't even got 3 rods out. I've got 2 rods out and that one is now ripping off. Oh, Jesus. It's just, this is just absolutely mental. I must be on so many fish. I haven't fished for 12 hours and yeah, just got 2 rods out. I can't even get the 3rd out and it's kicking off again. It's mad fishing. Normally I'd be really excited about this, but I've done my back in yesterday on that last fish, so I'm really struggling. But yeah, I've got to cut this bit short so John can pick up that rod and play that one. Well, here she is, all 36.5 pounds of her. And the reason we're doing this in the water is because my back is absolutely shot and I can't do it on the bank. So I don't think I'll be fishing for the rest of the day. So I'm going to try and get my back a bit better. I'm going to try and get the rods out later, but I'm going to have a day chilling out on the bank. But it's been an awesome day yesterday, catching all those fish. That's the risk you take when you do water shots. As I was saying before it decided to do that, I had to do it in the water because my back is absolutely shot. I literally physically can't do it on the bank. I just need the water to support my back a little bit. So that is it for fishing for me today. I'm going to try and get my back a bit better, and I might try and get the rods out later this evening if I feel a bit better. But yeah, I think yesterday was a bit too much for me, and I don't think anybody here is going to feel sorry for me having a dodgy back after lifting those fish I did yesterday, because it really was just an awesome day. And as I was sitting back last night having a beer and thinking about it, I actually had a double, a 20, a 30, a 40, a 50 and a 60 all in one day. And it was just an absolute phenomenal day. So blown away with yesterday, but I'm going to take a bit of time today, get out of this sun, drink plenty of water. But yeah, what an awesome session it's been so far, and we're only 48 hours in, so absolute cracking place. It's now about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I've literally got this rod out about 10 minutes ago. Just the one rod, and it's gone straight away. So my back feels a little bit better. So hopefully I'll be able to lift this one, but I'll try and do water shots again because that seems to be the best way to lighten the load a little bit. It's just manic out there. There must be so many fish just sitting out there waiting for the bait. And yeah, we'll see how big it is. Well, here she is. I said 40 pounds, but she's actually 38 and a half. I think she's recently spawned because her front end is a little bit empty. But it's just absolutely ridiculous fishing I've got. I think I've fished for a grand total of about 20-25 minutes today and had 2 and lost 1. It's ridiculous. I put about 3k bait out there, then got the rod out, clipped the bobbin on, just letting the line tighten on itself. Next thing I know, the rod's bent over and it's screaming off with this one on the end. It's phenomenal. There must be so many fish out there. But yeah, it's good fishing. It's just so hot. It must be over 40 degrees, honestly. It's cooking. So really struggling in the heat, but happy to be catching. Oh, what a lovely way to end the evening. This one was £40 an ounces. Cracking mirror that just absolutely beat me up, and it's still beating me up now in the water. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the rods out again. I've probably done about an hour's fishing for 3 carp and a blackamoor. So really pleased to catch a few. Really pleased to have an eventful day, even though I feel terrible. Let's get her back.
A few moments later.
Well, I couldn't resist putting the rod out one last time, and here we are. Here's the result, the biggest fish of the day, for me anyway. I know John had a bigger one this morning. A really interesting day's fishing. My back is absolutely wrecking now holding this, but it's a damn sight better than it was this morning. Hopefully I'm fully fit tomorrow and I can fish properly. But above all, John has found a spot similar to what I'm fishing on out in front of his swim, so I think we're in for quite a few fish tomorrow. Well, good morning. Didn't fish again last night. I left the rods in just to get a decent night's sleep, and then got up early this morning, put 2 rods out, didn't bother with a third. Had a blackamoor within about 20 minutes, and this one was half hour, 40 minutes later, mid-30 common. So hopefully there's more like this and a few bigger ones to come. So this afternoon we're going to take a little bit of downtime, not put the rods out, and we're going to talk you through baits and tactics and all sorts of other things. And I'm also going to try and find my cap, because I can't find it. That's where I'm wearing a bucket hat. So plenty of things to go on this afternoon. Hopefully a couple more big fish, and then we'll talk you through exactly how we're catching all these. So should be another nice scorching hot day, which I could probably do without, but still, it's all good.
Well, there we go. So 49 and a half. We've had an amazing few days so far. We've been here three nights, and it's just ridiculous, this place. It shows it's worth doing the journey and all the hard miles, and all the gear's working brilliant. We got the new rods, which are ridiculous. Well chuffed with them. The jury was out until I tested them, but I'm very pleased with those. Blatant plug, but yeah, they're good. I'm enjoying it. And yeah, all the guys are happy. We're catching hand over fist, and we've had a lot of big fish, but we think that there's a lot more bigger fish to come. So get off your bum and get to Italy if you want some of the most amazing fishing of your life. And weirdly enough, we've come in November, it wasn't as good, but summertime, the fish like it in the hot weather. So this is what we're getting. So there we go.
Well, we've talked about blackamoors. This is my 4th or 5th. I think John's had about 6 or 7. They're kind of cool fish in a sort of way, but we're not here for these really. This is the biggest one I've had at 36, and I think John's had one much bigger that he didn't weigh. So I don't know where they originate from. I know there's quite a few in China and Japan, but yeah, they've got them across here in Italy. So fight like stink, go absolutely nuts, but it's not what we're here for. I'm a massive boilie angler, and over the last few years I've used pretty much predominantly boilie in my spring, summer and autumn fishing. I tend not to use too much particle, and I've been fishing a few waters with bream in it, so pellet's not always been the one. So I've always been a boilie angler, and by far my favourite boilie is the cell. It just seems to work everywhere, it's instant, and it just seems to catch loads and loads of fish. So I'm going to do a bit of a bait mix at the minute, and so cell is going to be the first thing that goes in there. So I'm just going to tip a bit of cell into a bucket. And then I always like to mix different sizes and different types of boilie up as well. It just means the fish are picking up different sizes of baits, which when it comes to picking up a hook bait, I think it can throw them off a little bit. So if they're used to picking up one size of bait that feels the same weight all the time, then they can get used to just picking up, say, 18 mils all the time. So when they come to the hook bait, they know there's something different in that, and it can quite often cause the fish to spook and not pick a hook bait. So I like to use different sizes. So they're 18s, these are 14s. Now these are actually ISO fish, and I've not used a fish meal for a while. Not because I don't like it, I've caught a lot of fish on fish meal in the past, but because I've focused a lot on the cell. But this is ISO fish, so it's the first time of using this, and yeah, I've got to say I'm really, really impressed. Now I've used a similar bait to this called ISO Sweets when it was at test level with mainline, and it's got the same sort of ingredients in, so the same flavourings, a similar sort of base, but this has got fish meal, whereas that one didn't, and I've caught loads of fish on that probably about 4 or 5 years ago. So mixing that with the cell's done really, really well. So putting a fish meal into the mix and using ISO fish just helps to mix things up a little bit. Now, I've said I don't normally like using pellet because I fish a lot of waters with bream in it. Now, there's no bream in here. There is a few other species like blackamoor, catfish, grass carp and a few others, but there's no bream. So on here, they actually sell pellets on site. So a lot of pellets go into the water, and a lot of these types of pellets go into the water. Now, my Italian's not great, but I can see on the ingredients that it's 45% protein, which means it's got a really good protein content. And you can see by the nice dark colour of it, it just looks like a good pellet. And I think I'd be a bit daft not to use something that the fish see so much of. You know, if everybody's coming down and everybody's buying at least one bag of these, that means there's loads and loads of this going in all the time. So I won't say it's a natural food source because it's not for them, but it's something that they pick up without caution. So I'm going to put a load of pellet into the mix. Drop a few handfuls. And then the other thing that I'm doing that's a little different from normal is I'm going to be using this smart liquid. Now I've got the cream version here today, but they also do it in a few others. I've used the cell to good effect in the past. And the reason I'm using this is because it's very, very deep out there. So the average depth of the lake is about 30, 32 foot. And I'm actually fishing on a bar, believe it or not, that comes up to about 29 on my left-hand rod, up to 27 on my right-hand rod. So it's still really, really deep. So by putting this smart liquid in, it soaks into the pellet, soaks into the boilie really well, but once it's been out in the lake for a little bit, it sort of permeates up through the water columns. And if fish are cruising around in mid-water, which I'm guessing they are in these sort of temperatures, and we're seeing a lot of fish show, so they're not just on the deck, they're all through the water columns. So this smart liquid can help drag them down. So just give the bottle a little shake and just squirt it in. Try and cover all that mix up and then give it a good shake. And then bang some more in, just so it goes all the way through the mix and really soaks into the bait. And so far this mix has done me really, really proud. You know, I'm really struggling to keep the rods in the water at the minute, and I think the fish have just switched onto the bait, but I also think they're just hot in this one little area that I'm fishing at the minute. So yeah, I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to get this out there now, get the rods back out, and hopefully I can pick up a few more.
After another scorching day, we decided to have a social round Frank's Swim, and after a few beers and a good old catch-up, the weather completely turned, and an absolutely biblical Italian storm kicked up off the back of the Dolomites.
good morning. Last night was absolutely biblical with the storm. It was, yeah, it just went from being flat calm, 35 degrees, to 40, 50 mile an hour wind first. Big black clouds just ominously came towards us. And yeah, it was really nice, to be fair. You know, it must have dropped down to about 22 degrees, and all of a sudden I felt I got energy. You know, this 35 degrees just completely zaps any sort of energy I had. But yeah, dropping it down and freshening the air up was lovely, to be fair. But today is set to be another scorcher. So as you can probably tell, I'm playing a fish. I just got the rods out for the morning, and I've managed to get 2 out, and this one's gone after about 15 minutes. So and it feels carpy, it doesn't feel like a blackamoor. So hopefully we've got a bit of a chunk. It's just sort of come in a little bit and kited to my right, so it's just sort of keeping low in the margins. So I'm going to try and get this one in, and hopefully it'll be a decent fish to hold up for the cameras. There we go. Yep. Well, they're coming thick and fast now. This one was 45, and there's this one, 38.10, and there's this one, 42 pound 8 ounces, and there's this one. Not this one, but check out this one. At 48 pound 12, this is an absolutely cracking carp. Long and lean and muscular, just like I was in my 20s many years ago. And the size of that rudder is immense. It absolutely beat the crap out of me. So far I must have had 20 odd fish, I don't know, and half a dozen blackamoors. And this session really is kicking off. It's, this one keeps flipping and giving me no warning, so I'm a bit nervous about it. But it's an absolutely stunning fish. So happy. Cracking fish. Third biggest of my session so far. And when it went over the net, it looked a 50 all day long, just for the sheer length of it. It's probably a much bigger fish later in the year, but I'm happy to record it now. Awesome. Let's let it go.
Nice looking fish. In good condition on this place. I can't even imagine how much bait we've gone through. We brought 60 kilo boilies, used all of those. 100 kilo particles at least. 3 sacks of pellets, 25 kilo sacks of pellets, and we've got 2 days left. So yeah, come prepared, boys, if you come to Italy.
Well, it's our penultimate day on Ghost Park. We've just got this afternoon and tomorrow left us sort of full days, and then we need to be off early Monday morning. So I've had 5 bites so far this morning, and this is the biggest of the ones I've landed. So this is 42.5 pound. Nice cracking long lean mirror. Lovely Ghost Park fish. So this afternoon what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and do some rig shots. Hopefully the bites slow up a little bit, so I can show you the rigs I've been using and the hook baits and, you know, my general setup. So yeah, let's get this fella back and get the rods back out again.
Well, there we are. It's been a long time coming. Ed said, John, come a little bit closer to me, mate. So I moved literally 60 yards to the left and had 3 bites in half an hour. Topped by this 38 pounder. They're super, super lively. So we're not going to waste any more time. A few snaps, slip her back.
Look at this absolute beast. Another 50 pounder at 52, I think it was. It's got a little bit of a small head on it and big old shoulders. Yeah, real unique character. I think it's my 7th of the day, so it's all kicking off today, and it's testament to how the rigs are working and how everything's coming together to help us catch these cracking Italian carp. Now the rigs I use are really, really important to me, and it's been over years of development and me messing around with various rig materials to come up with perfect rigs for a lot of the fishing that I do. Now, it's probably not prevalent in this situation because I think anything you put out there would catch fish. There's that many fish feeding in a tight area that as long as you've got a bit of bait out there and a sharp hook, I think pretty much anything to catch. But when I'm back in the UK or I'm fishing in a pressured fish situation, I like to vary the rigs that I use. Now, I think I'm a little bit different to a lot of people in the fact that I like to put different rigs and different presentations out there. So, you know, I've got 3 rods and I like to vary the presentations that I use. Now, that's mainly because not every fish feeds in a certain way. Some fish feed very close to the bottom and physically pick the bait up off the deck when it's moving through, and then pop-ups aren't as effective in that situation because the fish are literally just picking everything up off the deck, whereas other fish tend to be a couple of inches away and literally suck everything in, and that's when pop-ups are much better with it, the point of the hook proud and much more likely to catch the fish's mouth. Whereas if you're on the deck, then if there's any stones around, I always worry about the hook point dinking over on a stone as the fish feeds around it. So this is the main rig that I'm fishing at the minute. And this is pretty much my go-to rig, to be honest with you. So this is on 2 rods. So I've got a lead core leader there. I've got a lead clip. I much prefer lead clips to helicopters, especially when I'm casting. It just reduces the chances of a tangle. Got a big 4-ounce lead because I'm going out 110 yards, 115 yards. When I'm doing a lot of casting as well, I like this anti-tangle sleeve. That makes a huge difference, and it just kind of straightens everything out and gives a degree of separation when it flies through the air. And then the rig material that I've got is a semi-stiff, well, semi-soft coated boom. Years ago when I first developed this rig and first started using this rig, I was using like a fluorocarbon boom. But I found that if you're fishing an area with a bit of weed in it or a few twigs across the bottom, then if the boom sort of caught a bit of a twig, then the whole rig would just sit up off the deck. Whereas this softer coated braid material will kind of loop up and over any sort of twigs and little strands of weed or anything that's in the deck. And then the sort of business end as such is a relatively short bristle filament, in this case it's scorpion link, just crafted into a bend, and just a load of putty over the bottom end, and then a size 4 choddy hook. This rig's got a bright yellow, I forget what it is now, I think it's a glugged pineapple essential cell pop-up. The other rod that I'm using on the same rig has got a match the hatch cell pop-up on, so that's a little bit different. And then the third rig I've got out there is a wafter rig. So this is basically a liner, again the same braid, sort of semi-soft braid. I've got a long straightish liner kicking off, and then this has just got an ISO fish wafter on, so when it sits on the deck the hook point will be flat and this will just be wafting around. The reason I use this with a long bit of string tubing on is so that I'm not closing the gape so much like I am with the other rig. It leaves the gape quite open, so this rig is more liable to hook the fish further back and give sort of slightly deeper hook holds than what that rig will. Whereas the other rig, because it's quite aggressive, tends to hook them literally just in the lip, but it flips around quite violently and hooks them in the lip, where this doesn't flip around quite as violently, but it allows it to hook the fish further back, which means you can get really good hook holds. So they're the 2 different rigs that I'm using with the 3 different hook baits, and to be honest with you, I'm struggling to keep any of the 3 in the water, so it doesn't matter in this situation, but back in more pressured situations, slight changes in rig can make a big difference.
Well, good morning on the last full day here at Ghost Park, and got dead early this morning, got the rods out. 99% of what I need to get done is done, so I'm going to try and have a full day on the rods. Already had one of our black and more friends, and then literally just about to put that rod back out, and the other rod next door to it's tanked off, and this does feel a little bit more like a carp. Unfortunately, the last fish of yesterday, the last bite should I say, I lost, and I think potentially it was the 50 that I came to Italy for. Ed and I both looked at each other, there was a nod of appreciation of what I just lost, and they just started swearing quite a lot. But yes, you find me in my rather on-brand colour pants, I think you'll find. The Trakker red pants. But yeah, it's been an amazing trip. As I said, not necessarily so many fish for me, but to watch, see, and talk to the people that have had some of the amazing trips, and obviously spend the time with Ed catching what he's caught, it's been berserk. So for me, one last ditch attempt to try and make something special happen But if it doesn't, what I've had has still made this a memorable trip. So I'm going to concentrate on this fish because all of a sudden it's got a bit heavier under the rod tip. But yeah, what a place, Ghost Park. And I changed it all up to 5 the other day. Get up. And there we are, this morning's culprit, 36 pounds and ounces of Ghost 8 carp. Ed gave up having to video and photo a lot of these a couple of days ago, but for me, we've had a bit of a tougher trip. It's worth holding every single one of these up because I will probably never be back here again. But what a mega fight from a mega fish, and the first bite of the morning. Happy days. Right, slip her back, get the rod back out. Well, what a mega fish and what a mega morning's fishing already. I could not have done what Ed's done this week, to be fair. I've had 4 or 5 bites, a couple of oddities this morning. I'm already knackered. But another 48 pounder. Doesn't feel like the 50 is going to get broken, it really doesn't. But this slab-headed upper 40, big old long fish, has made the day for me already. New spot, because Ed let me go closer to him, we picked each other up earlier and I said, you know what, I'll come further right. And when I went further right, I found that the bar picked back up again, dropped it on, walked down to Ed to tell him the story, and the rod was already going. So yeah, absolutely buzzing. Right, I'm gonna put this down because already I'm knackered, and get the rods back out to see if we can get that 50. It's really push for it for the end. A big push for the day, big push for the end of the week. Buzzing. Well, there we are, one last look. And it's all been so cliche. We've done bits on the bank, bits in the water, but you know what a mega trip we've had. And we're gonna keep pushing right to the end. Right, slip this one back.
Right, well, it's the last day. It's probably early afternoon at the minute. I've had, I don't know, a few fish this morning. Shit. Come on. Yeah, I've had a few fish this morning. A few black and moors, a few carp. But this one is huge. It's an absolute lump. It's a linear. I can't get the net, sorry. Get in, come on, get in! Get in! What a way to end a session. Oh, look at this colossal beast. I mean, just look at it. I mean, it's got to be nearly 4 foot long. It is huge, and it's the fish I really wanted. I photographed it last year for a Norwegian guy, Kim, and I said then it's the best fish I've ever seen. 71 pounds and 8 ounces. Just look at it. This is why we come all the way to Italy. I know I've said that before, but this is why we came. What a colossal beast. I can't tell you how happy I am. Goes without saying, it's a new PB, and I'll probably never catch a better fish than this, ever. Just sheer size and looks. What an awesome creature. Just look at this phenomenal creature. What a way to end the session. What a colossal linear. I photographed this fish last year and I said it's the best looking fish I've ever seen. So I'm just blown away to catch it. Goes without saying it's a new PB, but at quite a distance. 71.5 pounds. 71. Absolutely awesome. So blown away. Thanks for watching. This is such an awesome place.